Hey guys, the Repentance Plus DLC for the Binding of Isaac is finally here, and quite a few items in the game have been buffed or reworked. I already made a video showcasing all the buffs in a more narrow way, but I promised you that I would make an in-depth video about one of the more exciting buffs which was received by the Abyss item. And that's exactly what this video is all about. I will tell you how the item got reworked, I will show you all the new so-called special locusts, and you will even find out what will happen if you use Abyss on a second Abyss at the very end. I usually don't ask for stuff like subs and likes so early in a video, but this one took me 2 whole days to make, because I researched and tested every single detail myself and very thoroughly. That's why I would really appreciate any form of support from you guys. So if you are new here and enjoy what I put out, consider doing the usual stuff like subscribing to the channel and liking or sharing the video. It means a lot and helps more than you would think. And if you are a long-time viewer that wants to support me further, there's also the option to get a channel membership that will grant you a badge, some emotes, a special role on my Discord server, as well as the privilege to get your name listed in the outro of all my future videos. But enough with the sellout, you are here for some locusts. So let's jump right into the explanation of the Abyss rework in Repentance Plus. Let's start with the basics. Before the DLC, most items in the game would just spawn a regular red locust when you used Abyss on them. These locusts would always deal 100% of your character's current damage stat per tick, no matter what kind of item you have Abyssed. This changed quite a bit in Repentance Plus, because the power of your locusts will now depend on the quality level of the Abyssed items. Using Abyss on a quality 2 item will now be the middle ground, as it will create the old basic locust that deals 100% of your damage per tick. However, locusts that are created from items of lower quality will be weaker, while the ones created from higher quality items will be stronger. To be precise, a quality 0 locust will only deal 50% of your damage per tick, while a quality 1 locust will deal 75% damage. However, the jump in the other direction is luckily a bit higher. Using Abyss on a quality 3 item will create a locust that deals 150% of your damage per tick, and a quality 4 locust will deal a whopping 200% damage. So overall, using Abyss on more valuable items could be worth more than before, depending on the item, while using it on supposedly weaker items may not always be worth it, as it creates weaker locusts. It is probably debatable if this is an overall buff or nerf to the item and tainted Apollyon as a whole, but the rework certainly makes it that you have to be more thoughtful about your Abyss usage. However, there's another big part of this buff that might sway your opinion to one direction. The main complaint of the Isaac community when it comes to the Abyss item was its awful absence of dedicated synergies when using Abyss on specific items. You could probably count those special cases in Repentance on one hand, but this has drastically changed in Repentance Plus, where tons of new so-called special locusts have been added. I will now go ahead and show you every single one of those unique locusts, and I will name all the items that can produce them. And don't forget, there will be a crazy secret double Abyss interaction at the very end, so stay tuned for that as well. Allow me to start hot. Using Abyss on Firemind, Red Candle, Blue Candle, Bird's Eye, Ghost Pepper, Hot Bombs or the Horn of Souls will create a flaming orange locust that can apply burn to your enemies on hit. This is the first type of special locust where I already have to make you aware of something. Most locust types will have different chances to activate their effect based on the exact item that you have abyssed. For example, the flame locusts created by Firemind, Red Candle and Blue Candle will always burn your opponent on hit. But the flame locusts created from Bird's Eye, Ghost Pepper, Hot Bombs and the Horn of Souls only have a chance to apply the burn on each hit. Whenever a special locust has this kind of separation, I will try my best to tell you that difference and name the corresponding items to the best of my knowledge, based on my testing and data mining. Let's go to the next one, which is the green locust. You guessed it, it has the ability to poison your enemies on contact. Keep in mind that the regular ticking damage of your locusts will still depend on the quality level of the abyssed items. The status effect damage like poison and burn, however, is still calculated based on your damage, which means that both of them will tick equal to 100% of your character's damage. There are cases where the effect of a special locust is based on its quality, but I will always tell you how their damage is calculated. The items that create green locusts with a chance to apply poison are the virus, the common cold, the bean, Bob's curse, the black bean, butt bombs, Bob's brain, mysterious liquid, toxic shock, serpent's kiss, dead tooth, sinus infection, contagion, mucormycosis and Jupiter. And the only 2 items that create locusts with a guarantee to poison your enemies every time are Scorpio and Ipecac. Next up is the dark red locust. This one can be created by abyssing Charm of the Vampire, Shard of Glass, Backstabber or Mom's Razor, which are all blood related items. That's exactly why these locusts have a chance, so none of them are guaranteed, to apply bleed to enemies on hit. In case you don't know how bleed works in Isaac, it will cause enemies to take ticking damage that will get more frequent the faster the enemy moves. The bleed will also cause them to leave behind a blood trail that can damage other enemies but not the player.
Tears up.
You probably already realized that the first few locusts are all status effect related, and this trend continues with the next one. This grey colored locust can be created by abyssing Dark Matter, Mom's Pet, Mom's Perfume, Abaddon, Little Horn or Too Spooky, and it has a chance to apply fear to enemies on contact. Let's stay in the crowd control territory. There's also a special locust that has a chance to petrify your foes on hit. This locust type has a black color and can be created by using Abyss on either Mom's Bra, Midas Touch, Mom's Contacts, Boomerang, Pause or Dad's Ring. Fun fact, the game actually considers the Fear locust to be black and the Petrify locust to be grey. A bit weird if you ask me. It feels like the in-game colors were supposed to be switched here, but it obviously doesn't matter for the gameplay. I just felt like showing you because it confused me for a while. Anyway, up to the next special locust that applies a crowd control effect. This pink looking locust has the ability to apply charm to your enemies. This is once again a locust type that is split between guaranteed and chance-based versions depending on the abyssed item. A guaranteed charm locust will be created by absorbing Venus or Rotten Tomato, while a chance-based one will be created by absorbing Betrayal, Kidney Beam or Mom's Eyeshadow. We are not done with the crowd control yet, and there will also be a lot more shades of grey. The next special locust, which the game considers to be light grey, has the ability to slow your enemies on hit, which will make it a lot easier to hit them with the rest of your swarm. This special locust can be created by abyssing Spider Bite, the Hourglass, Ball of Tar, Little Gish, Spider Butt, Stopwatch, Juicy Sack, Sticky Bombs, Broken Watch, Sensor, Nightlight, Large Sit or the Intruder, which all have a chance to apply the slow. None of them are guaranteed. We are nearly done with the status effect locusts, I promise. The next one is yet another black looking locust which the game files labeled as grey. So once again, maybe it is supposed to be grey instead. This special locust has the chance to confuse enemies on hit and can be made by absorbing Iron Bar, Glaucoma or Camo Undies. However, there's a second type of special locust that also has confusion as part of its ability. This blue looking locust can be created by absorbing Knockout Drops, Isaac's Heart, Butterbean, Aries, Pisces or Belly Jelly, and it has a chance to knock enemies back and confuse them at the same time. A really powerful and fun source of crowd control. You probably already know that the Mega Bean item got a huge buff in Repentance Plus, but it doesn't stop there. The item even got its own special locust that combines 3 previous effects into one. Abyssing a Mega Bean will create a green locust that has a chance to knock enemies back, confuse them and poison them all at once. A real powerhouse. The last status effect related special locust revolves around the magnetization status, which will cause affected enemies to attract other nearby enemies and pickups. This is once again a black locust labeled as grey, and it can be created by using Abyss on Lodestone, Magneto, Strange Attractor, Black Hole or Ocular Rift. We are now done with the status effect related special locusts, and it is now time to move to more visible stuff. This brings us to yet another light grey one, which I will call the Bone Locust. These locusts have a chance to release a few bone projectiles in random directions whenever hitting an enemy. These bones will deal damage equal to the damage of the locust itself instead of your characters, which means that the locust quality will be relevant for this effect. The bone locusts can be created by using Abyss on Compound Fracture, Marrow, Slipped Rib, Pointy Rib, Book of the Dead, Jawbone, Brittle Bones and Bone Spores. But enough with all the grey. This next locust type will certainly stand out in your swarm. Absorbing either Godhead, Succubus or Monstrance will create a white locust that will emit a holy aura around it that rapidly deals 2 points of ticking damage, just like the Godhead item does ever since its rework in Repentance. And by the way, I find it really interesting that the demonic Succubus will turn into such a holy being. And while we are talking about holy beings, let's check out another angelic themed special locust. This white looking locust can be created by abyssing Holy Light, Crack the Sky, White Pony, Crown of Light or Tresian, and it has a chance to call down holy light beams upon hitting your enemies. These beams will tick for 3 times the damage of the locust that triggered it, so this one is also dependent on the locust's quality. Next up is a special locust that already existed before Repentance Plus, but with only one item that could produce it. This purple locust can be created by absorbing Spoonbender, Little Steven, Telepathy for Dummies or Smartfly, and it does exactly what you think. It will target and home in on your enemies, making it way easier to hit them. And that's where we come to another special locust that combines two existing ones into one. Absorbing the fan favorite Sacred Heart item will create a slower white locust that will both home in on your enemies while also having the chance to create the Holy Light Rays. Since Sacred Heart is a quality 4 item, the locust itself will deal 200% of your damage, while the Holy Light Ray will triple that amount for a whopping 600% ticking damage. And yet, nobody will ever abyss it anyway, let's be real here. The next set of special locusts revolves around zapping your foes. This cyan-looking electric locust has a small chance to send out sparks of electricity that will hit surrounding enemies. These sparks sadly only deal 0.1 damage per hit, and it doesn't matter how much damage you have or what quality the locust is. This feels a bit low, and I'm not sure if it is intended like this. Having them deal at least 10% of their damage would feel more appropriate if you ask me, but it is what it is. These electric locusts can be created by using Abyss on Technology, the Battery, Robobaby 2.0, 9V, Tech 0.5, Car Battery, Charged Baby, Jumper Cables or Technology 0. However, there's another set of electric cyan special locusts. This version can be created by absorbing Jacob's Ladder, Tech X, 120V, Battery Pack or 4.5V. And these basically create the same type of locusts but with one crucial difference. Instead of having a chance to send out the sparks, the locusts created from these items will always trigger the chain lightning every time they hit an enemy, making them a lot more reliable. Next up is a special locust type that I think is really powerful, but so are the items that would create it. I call this blue locust the Shield Locust, and it is made by absorbing Lost Contact, Holy Mantle or Psyfly. It has the useful ability to destroy enemy projectiles in its path. To be precise, the locust will always destroy projectiles even when it just idles by your side. It would probably be really hard to make use of this deliberately, but it might still save your butt here and there. However, there are way more items that can create these shield locusts when you abyss them, but once again with the difference of only having a chance to destroy a projectile. These items are all defensive in some way or form, and the trigger chance of their locust ranges from 30 to 80%, depending on the power level of the absorbed item. The items that can create a chance-based shield locust are Celtic Cross, Book of Shadows, Sacrificial Dagger, Guppy's Hairball, Cube of Meat, Ball of Bandages, Guardian Angel, My Little Unicorn, Nard Leaf, The Wafer, Infamy, Trinity Shield, Dry Baby, Big Fan, Punching Bag, Unicorn Stump, Virgo, Breath of Life, Sworn Protector, Host Head, Circle of Protection, Metal Plate, Conehead, Leprosy, Divine Intervention, Little Dumpy, Whatfly, Tiny Toma, Tooth and Nail, The Swarm, Halo of Flies, and weirdly enough, Damocles. We are still not done yet, and it is time to get explosive. These special locusts finally come in a new color, which is yellow. They have a chance to cause an explosion each time they deal damage with their regular contact damage. This explosion deals a whopping 40 damage to all surrounding enemies, which is not affected by your own damage nor the quality of the locust. However, here's an important disclaimer. Basically all of these locusts are supposed to have a chance to cause the explosion. This chance would usually range from 30 to 80% depending on the item the locust was made of, just like it was for the shield locusts. However, as you can see in the video, this is probably bugged and basically all of them trigger every single time, which makes the explosive locust extremely powerful. I bet this will get patched out really fast, but I'm pretty sure the intended numbers will also end up being pretty powerful, so don't worry. The number of items that will produce an explosive locust when you abyss them is huge, but I promised you that I would name them all, so here we go. Dr. Fetus, Bobby Bombs, Best Friend, Remote Detonator, Bob's Curse, Ipecac, Epic Fetus, Pyro, Butt Bombs, Z Bombs, Bogo Bombs, Hot Bombs, BFF, Bob's Brain, Bomber Boy, Sticky Bombs, Curse of the Tower, Number 2, Explosivo, Minecrafter, Mama Mega, Fast Bombs, Rocket in a Jar, Brimstone Bombs, Ghost Bombs, Boom, Mr. Boom, Kamikaze, Doctor's Remote and Anarchist Cookbook. The most observant viewers may have already realized it, but this means we also got a new set of locusts with two effects at once. Ipecac, Bob's Curse and Butt Bomb locusts can all explode, and they also have the ability to poison enemies at the same time, which is probably only relevant for bosses for obvious reasons. The Hot Bombs locust on the other hand comes with explosion and burn, while the Sticky Bombs locust comes with explosion and slow. And if this wasn't enough chaos and destruction for you, then you will like the next type of special locust. This locust has a pink color and I call it the Rainbow Locust. You probably already guessed it, but these locusts have a chance to mimic any other previously mentioned locust effect at random. The items that will create a rainbow locust when you use Abyss on them are $3 bill, fruitcake, Play-Doh cookie, Dead Sea Scrolls, Missing No, Chaos, Spider Mod, GB Bug, Metronome, Delirious, Little Delirium, Genesis, Glitched Crown, and of course TM Trainer. The next set of items is dedicated to creating more than one locust at once when being absorbed by Abyss. For example, sucking in a 2020 will create 2 locusts that deal the full damage each. The best part is these locusts are linked with each other and they will all be launched at the same time instead of being queued one after another like your locusts usually do. This makes it way easier to control them and hit the same enemy for massive damage. So let's go through all types of multi-locusts. 2020, Twisted Pair, Incubus, Halo of Flies and Diplopia all create 2 locusts. And as you can see, the locusts created from the Halo of Flies item are also shield locusts. I just told you that all the multi-locusts are linked with each other, but there are actually 2 exceptions here that I want to get out of the way. Abyssing the Meat Cleaver item will create 2 smaller locusts that only deal 50% each and they are not linked. And Abyssing the Damocles item will, for some reason that I can't wrap my head around, create 2 shield locusts that are not linked. But like I said, those are the only non-linked ones from what I could tell. Anyway, let's go up in numbers. Absorbing the Inner Eye item will create 3 locusts at once which all deal the full damage. The same is true if you absorb the Parasite, but 2 of the locusts here are so tiny that you can barely see them. But don't worry, they pack the same punch as their older sibling. The last item to create 3 locusts at once is the Swarm, and it is probably the most powerful one of the bunch, because it appropriately creates shield locusts. We can still go one number higher though. You probably guessed it already, absorbing Mutant Spider will obviously create 4 linked locusts at once, and they have also been made a little bit smaller, but not as small as those of the next one. Abyssing Cricket's Body will create 4 microscopically small locusts, but don't worry, they are just as powerful as the big ones, which leads to the same overall DPS as the Mutant Spider version. We are nearly done, only a few more attributes to talk about before I can finally show you the secret Abyss plus Abyss synergy. First, let's talk about the tick rate. There are a selected few special locusts that have a slightly increased rate in which they apply that damage. These locusts come from absorbing Soy Milk, Almond Milk, Number 1, Mega Mush and Mom's Knife. The difference isn't that noticeable, but they certainly get the third tick in on the dummy way more often than the regular locusts. There are also some locusts that have an altered speed. Locusts created by Big Chubby, Ipecac, Sacred Heart, Big Fan, Eve's Mascara and Dead Onion all move a little bit slower, while locusts created from Soy Milk, Almond Milk and Number 1 are all considerably faster. We have now reached the final topic, I promise. Let's talk about size. You already saw it in a lot of the clips earlier, but I still want to list a few locusts that have an altered size starting from small and going to big. It is important to note that the change of their size also comes with a noticeable change of their actual hitbox. The smallest locusts are created from absorbing Soy Milk, Almond Milk, the Parasite or Cricket's Body. We saw all of them already and they have a size modifier around 0.3. The next bigger group of locusts with a modifier between 0.5 and 0.7 come from absorbing Mini Mush, Meat Cleaver, Mutant Spider and the Swarm. Now it is time to go up to the chunky boys. The first group of slightly bigger locusts than normal has a modifier of around 1.2 and it includes Big Fan, Eve's Mascara, Pupilla Duplex, Big Chubby, Mama Mega, Magic Mushroom, Chocolate Milk, Ipecac and Brimstone. And in case you are wondering, yes, that is everything that the Brimstone Locust does. It is grey and slightly bigger. That is sadly all there is to it. Anyway, let's go further up. The third place for biggest locust is a tie between Mom's Knife and Polyphemus, which both have a size modifier of 1.5. The second place is also a tie, with a modifier of a whopping 1.8. This honor goes to Mega Blast and Mega Mush. But not even them stand a chance against the biggest of boys, Hive Mind. The locust created by this item has a size modifier of 2, crowning it the chunkiest locust in the game. However, I have sad news for you. It currently doesn't have an added synergy to it, which is sad considering that the item itself would usually buff all your locust's damage by 25%. I feel like the locust version of the Hive Mind should have at least the same effect, or even a better one to make it worthwhile using Abyss on it. I hope the devs of the game will be made aware of this to give our boy the power he deserves. Anyway, speaking of using Abyss on something, it is now finally time to show you the insane double Abyss interaction. If you are still here at the end of this very long video, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. But enough of that. Let me just show you what will happen if you use Abyss on another Abyss. This is it. Using Abyss to absorb another one will create 16 locusts at once. These locusts will always be the same set of 16. We get one knockback, explosion, bone, shield, burn, magnet, electric, poison, godhead, slow, bleed, confusion, holy light, homing and rainbow locust each. Absolute insanity. This will obviously not happen a lot, but the day will come when the stars align in one of your runs. Anyway, that is finally it. That was every single special locust in the game at the moment of me making this video. I really hope that I didn't miss anything, but I am quite confident that I was really thorough with my research and testing. Once again, I really hope you appreciate the commitment in some way. I would be really happy about any form of support. Either way, this was it for me today, and I hope I will see you again in my next video. Bye!
He's the number one,
Isaac!
God's favorite son. His flowing robes reach down from heaven.